You just heard Hardwell, Sanctuary, out now on Revealed. Next up, my special mashup for Ultra 2025. Mighty Fools versus Calling.
The soundtrack of your nightlife. This is Hardwell on air.
It's time for the first Hardwell exclusive. One of the tracks I've premiered during my Ultra Miami set, it's coming out on the 9th of May on Revealed Recordings. This is Hardwell with Liftoff.
Hardwell exclusive.
intertwined, lost inside you, deep inside. Can you take control? Never wanna say goodbye. Keep me happy through the night. You got me talking about love. All you got is. You got me talking about love. All you got is. Lost inside you, deep inside. Can you take control? Never wanna say goodbye. Keep me happy through the night. I see I'll never let myself go out. With you I might be taking it too far. 'Cause you make it so easy to let go. All you got is. You got me talking about love.
Hardwell On Air.
Every month I'm playing a new track by an upcoming producer. Do you want me to play your track right here on Hardwell On Air? Make sure you go to revealedrecordings.com and upload your demo. The demo of this month is by two amazing producers, Kevin Brand and Agus Zach. This is Move It to the Rhythm, and it's this month's demo of the month.
Embracing new talent from all around the world. Hardwell On Air. Demo of the month.
Move to the rhythm. If you think you could take me, you're misunderstood. I know I'm being bad, but it feels so good.
But it feels so good.
Hardwell on air.
Take me to the rave. Take me to the rave. Take me to the rave. Take me to the rave.
It's the Out Here Brothers coming back at your ass for the 9-4. For all you motherfuckers who didn't know, we coming back ruthless, raw, and crazy. You know what I'm saying? Beyond, so don't stop moving, baby. Don't stop moving, baby. Don't stop moving, baby. Crazy. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Don't stop moving, baby. Drive me crazy. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Don't stop moving, baby.
Just heard Bassjackers with their amazing version of Wiggle Wiggle. Next up, the second Hardwell exclusive. I've been playing this remix for a while and I truly love it. This is my track together with Joey Dill and Luciana Arcadia in the Vivid remix, and it's coming out the 30th of May.
scar you've got inside. Just give it a try. Show me the madness, show me the madness. Can we ease the pain? We could change our names to Novocaine. Let go of the weight. Show me the madness, show me the madness in your eyes. Show me the madness.
One more track to go, but for now I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And next month I'm back with a brand new episode of Hardwell on Air. We're closing the show with this amazing new hardstyle record by Aversion and Aesthetic. This is Overcome.
I don't wanna waste my time. Will I ever get it back? Will I ever get it back? My world's on fire and I'm searching for a glimpse of light. Don't hold me down, 'cause I will overcome. Oh, I will overcome. Oh, I will overcome.
Hardwell on air.
For those who know what's right. For those wedded to the machines in their bedrooms, their studios, their best friend's garage or basement. For those who negotiate with the system every day to make time for the music that matters. For those who get in debt to fund the fight against the mundane. For those who stay true to their cause even in the face of income and fame through compromise. For those who feel the power of every beat. For those who keep their minds open. For those who encourage and support those pursuing their personal dream. For those who sacrifice relationships to make sure the music is heard. For those for which the music is a lifetime, not a pastime. This is Bass Agenda.
This is Freddie Fresh. You're checking out Bass Agenda.
How you doing? Welcome to Bass Agenda.
This month, I'm really pleased to say we're well and truly in legend mode, welcoming the wonderful Freddie Fresh to the show, somebody who is surely one of the most productive guys in electronic music. He's been putting out really good stuff for well over 35 years, covering almost every genre you can think of, starting back in the day with hip-hop, moving through techno, through house, ambient, drum and bass, big beat, break beat, you name it, he's done it, and to a very, very high standard. So we're going to explore as much of that as we can. Plus we've got a really cool interview with him that myself and Phil, aka Bass Junkie, did with him 2 or 3 weeks ago. Some really cool stories, some things to learn. Plus you might want to make a few notes as we go, because there's an awful lot of music talked about here, which is well worth checking out and that we couldn't fit into the show. Enjoy the ride, turn it up.
Minnesota has, I mean, we have a pretty large black population because we have a lot of people that, you know, migrated north in the 30s, 40s, 50s. And I was actually raised by a black man. My stepfather's black. He's from Chicago. So he basically raised me from age 10 up. age 10. And he wasn't, I mean, he had some soul and funk, but he was more a blues guy. He was more of a blues guy. And I didn't really pay much attention to what he was playing, but I'm self-analyzing this. I'm thinking maybe that might have had something to stir me into a different direction, perhaps, because Minnesota was pretty white bread poppy, from Bob Dylan, a rock and pop, basically. We didn't have too many. We did have a community radio station. We had some community programs and college programs that would get into different styles of music, but it was more industrial, rock, industrial, and punk type of stuff. But I got the bite for this music probably in about 1980 when Sugar Hill Gang came out. The hip, the hop, the hip. That was kind of almost mainstreamish a little bit, and it was people were into, and it was intriguing to me because of the rhymes and just the fact that I could remember some of the rhymes and I could say them back, but it did get me more curious. And then there was an electro program that came out in I think 1982, and I think they might have dropped a couple songs, but I was friends with a lot of black kids, and a lot of my black friends would bring in records from other cities like Planet Rock. So it's like my best friend was playing Planet Rock in his backyard at a barbecue in 1982, and he had an 808 drum machine in his basement.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I didn't really know or think about. I was like, the reason I know it is because I ended up borrowing it when I started producing music. And so he knew Prince, and a lot of my black friends knew like Hubert Eaves from the keyboard player for D-Train.
Right.
St. Paul. So I was at a high-rise apartment complex on, Highway 94, which is just 2 miles down the road from me, and hanging out with my friend Stevie. He was like my best friend, and there's this guy playing keyboards, and he's like, oh yeah, he's the keyboard player on D-Train. They just did a hit in New York. I didn't care again. This was 1980. I cared, but not enough to be like, oh my God. Like today I'd be like, yeah, give me your autograph. I was like, I remembered it. You know what I mean? But I was more at that stage, 80, 81, into just listening to the music and discovering it. Not getting into the intricacies of the music and who's producing this and that. That didn't happen until 83 when I went to New York. Right. But I was dating a girl from the South Bronx. She was Puerto Rican, which ended up being my wife. And I went to the Bronx in 1983, or 1984. I'm sorry, my very first trip. And that was it. It was like that. Everything just came boom, bang, boom, bang. The whole world changed for me at that point. It was, oh my God. And we went to the airport in Manhattan, and then we couldn't get a cab to the Bronx. They wouldn't take us to the Bronx. No one wanted to take us to the Bronx. And I was like, what's going on with that? And she's like, people don't want to go to the Bronx. She didn't say because it's crazy and dangerous. I mean, I was kind of ignorant, but my innocence was a charming factor to a lot of the people in the Bronx, and I looked different. I was like one of the few white guys around there running around the street. There was some older Jewish families and stuff in some of the parts, but some of the areas that she were from, like Mapes, 182nd, over by the zoo, were just hot neighborhoods. Just hot, crazy shit. But for me, it was so exciting. The excitement trumped the fear factor to the point where I just was not afraid. I was just, holy shit, there's a record store. Look at these hot women everywhere, and they're looking at me. I'm not getting this attention in Minnesota. I look like everybody else. I look like everybody else in Minnesota.
So it's like a sensory overload, man.
And like right now, my wife is Colombian. I mean, we've been 21 years together. So I mean, I ended up with that woman for a long time. But the point of the matter was, once I go back to Minnesota, the comparison was so drastic. The contrast was so drastic, and so I would get on the phone and I would call the record. I was smart enough to know after probably my second trip to New York that, okay, I come back and this music's not happening. The people are not playing, driving around with their hatchbacks open with huge systems pounding in space. You might hear some songs once in a while. So I tried to like gravitate towards some of the black community record stores, and I found out some of them had maybe a couple more of the very common releases of records that were playing, but like some of the stuff I was hearing in New York, like on my because I started bringing my mix. I had a little portable red cassette player that I brought with me because I didn't have a lot of money, and I brought that back to New York, and I would start recording, BLS, WRK, so Latin Rascals, Shep Pettibone, everybody. I'd come back, and then I would try to hunt down. I would find out what the songs were. I'd call on the phone to stores and I'd play them on the earphone of this, you know, and you, oh yeah, Freddie, that's this, that's that. And they got to know me because I called constantly. I mean, I can't, obsessed, look the word up, there's a picture of me in the dictionary right next to it. That's what I was.
So a total vinyl junkie.
Yeah, you guys are. I'm sure you guys are.
Yeah, just constantly hungry for it.
We can relate totally to that. I was you guys. I'm saying you guys, the only difference is the geographical areas where we were all located. New York was a hotbed of activity. It was just an amazing time that I didn't realize how amazing it was until later in retrospect.
when you were going to New York, what were the places you were buying most of your vinyl from? And this would lead on to the other thing. How did you get to work at B-Boy Records? Because that's pretty impressive. And then remixing.
Well, I'll clarify that now. I didn't work in the offices at B-Boy Records.
Okay.
Grassroots Def Jam rep. I was a Def Jam rep and a B-Boy rep. So I'd hang out. I would go into the offices and hang out. I was there. I mean, I was hanging out in the offices and stuff. Everybody knew. But it was... But to be fair, I was only at B-Boy Records a handful of times. I wasn't like I was there every weekend or something. Because you have to remember, I would go to New York in the summer times, and I would spend a month or two there. And then I would come back, and every time I would fight with my ex, which was like almost every day, I would get in my Datsun, and I would drive. I've got some hilarious stories, dude. I had a really beat to shit 1972 Datsun, and I drove to... I was having a fight with my dad at the trophy shop, and my ex didn't want it. It was drama. I was raising her kid. The point is, I was 21, 22, 23. I was going through drama. I fought with my dad at the pro shop. It was 3 p.m. I said, fuck it. I don't want to go home to my girlfriend and her kid. I'm just going to drive. I'm going to New York. And I got in my Datsun, and I just drove to fucking New York. I had lunch break. It's a 17-hour drive.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a long way, isn't it?
Yeah, and but I was, a lot of it was anger and rage, and I'm going to New York, and when I started in the car and I got to the Ohio, welcome to the turnpike system. I was like, oh shit, the toll system. Fuck hell. And I was looking through my pockets. I had like a $5 bill, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not turning around. What am I going to do? And I was trying to look at maps for side streets to get through the tolls. And so what I did was I looked in I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Sears department stores.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had it back in the 80s. Sears was famous and known for giving people a chance to get credit. Okay. And so I had an introductory credit card, $50 limit letter in my glove compartment. Now, $50 in 1984 was like $100, $200 now.
Yeah.
And because they would do it for young people. And so I said, oh, I got to find a Sears. So I drove off the turnpike, went in, found a Sears store, waited in line, got up there, and I said, can I activate a card? Is this, can you honor this card? Well, absolutely. If we sent it to you, we'll definitely honor it.
Wow.
So they gave me like $50 in cash out of that card immediately. Bam. Good. Right there. Because once I got to the Bronx, I stayed with my ex's brother. He had a place there.
Right.
He was there. And so when I got there, he's like, Freddie, if you're coming, this is like my probably 3rd or 4th time at doing this shit. He says, if you're coming here again, you need to get a job. You got 2 weeks. You get a job or you're going back to Minnesota. And so I took my I had my Datsun. So I went to Alexander's. That's a big chain. They have one in the 149th and 3rd in the south Bronx, like the really harsh area. The point is, I went and I tried to get a job, and I went to Crazy Eddie's record store.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're on Fordham Road, and that was a big spot for buying records. And I went in the basement, and I applied there, and they were like, we're not really hiring right now. And I ended up working at a place called Xanadu Records. But to be fair, I was there just off and on because I ended up driving the staff around, basically, because I had a car, and a lot of the young kids didn't have cars. And so they would hang out with me, and I'd drive them places. And then when it came time to get paid, he said, I can give you, $200 or $300 for the records. What do you think I took? And so that was it. The fire had been lit. So I started working at record stores. I worked at a St. Paul record store. Oh, okay, when I worked at B-Boy Records, what happened was it's an interesting story. I walked my ex-brother-in-law, he was a big Puerto Rican guy. We drove through that area, and he was walking me there, and I remember this so well because he was trying to get me to do cocaine. And everybody did cocaine out there. It was just everybody did it, and I didn't do it. I was a total nerd. And so he was like, you got to do this. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that shit, man. He's like, you just do it. And he put it up to my nose, and I blew it all over the place, and he never asked me to do it again. He was so
wasted that stuff.
But that happened like right outside the door at B-Boy Records.
Right.
And then to B-Boy Records, it was just a red door. I actually have a picture of me in front of it. I look horrible. I've got this big build belly, and it's just a bad picture of me. And I had a Jerry curl perm. I looked like so bad.
Oh, I had one of those. Don't worry.
I was standing right in front of the door, and it said B-Boys on the door in blue ink. It was really not. It was not a cool sign. It was like someone just hand wrote B-Boys on this door.
Wow.
And Will Camara was in there, and I went in there and basically talked my way into working with him, and they really liked me a lot. And I ended up doing the plaque for the Man and His Music album. I did a remix for Man and His Music, and I did the plaque for Criminal Minded.
Right. Okay.
They also
cool.
did a plaque. They also used my plaque on the Beat Girls album.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I had that album. I remember The Man and His Music, where it was a sad time, obviously, Scott LaRock getting shot. I mean, awful. I remember it coming over on the radio. I remember listening to the radio and it being announced, and it was like shocking. And then I remember buying the album. It had a picture of him, a yellow cover, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, was there 3 records in there, maybe? 4?
Two records and an insert. My picture's on there. I'm in there sitting in a chair.
Yeah, I don't remember the remix, honestly, so I need to...
no one remembers the remix. The only remixes that were good on that album, there was a couple really good ones. Mine was not a good remix. I didn't know he was going to use it. He didn't tell me that. Man, I was so broke back then. I was hustling. I delivered pizza at night, and I worked at the pro shop in the day. My dad paid me shit, which in retrospect was a good thing because he forced me to look outside the box. So I'd probably still be working at the pro shop.
Yeah.
And he... I asked on the phone to Bill Camara when he said, "Freddie, we're going to put this out." I was like, "Do I actually get money from this?" He goes, "Yeah, you're going to get at least $10,000." That's what he told me. I mean, come on, where did he get that number? I mean, $10,000? That's insane. Imagine if they paid every guy in that. I mean, I'm sure Scott and Chris didn't get $10,000 for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, Scott was dead, of course. But
you could buy a lot in Sears with that kind of money.
Yeah, no shit. it was just, but it was so exciting, you know. I mean, I used to a Digitech guitar blue foot sampler that sampled for 2 seconds, and I sampled stuff on that, and then and I had a guy over here locally alter the pedal because it would only come out in one channel. So if you had headphones on, you'd only hear the sample in your left ear.
Yeah.
And so he put a summing box so that the samples would come through. And when I sampled music, it sounded really crappy. But when I sampled a cappella, it sounded okay.
And so you could get away with it.
Yeah, and I ended up using that on the remix. I did remix number 7. They're not labeled, so nobody knows who they're what. I think I went on Discogs and fixed it.
Boogie Down Productions.
We'll always get paid.
We'll always get paid. We'll always get paid.
We'll take the wackest song and make it better.
Make it better. Get better. Get better. Get better. Get better. So you can stop guessing if this is a gift or a written down memo. See, I am a professional. This is not a demo. In fact, call it a lecture, a visual picture, sort of a poetic in rhythm like mixture. Listen, I'm not dissing, but there's something that you're missing. Maybe you should teach reality. Stop wishing for beats with plenty bass and lyrics set in haste. If its meaning doesn't manifest, put it to rest. I am a poet. You try to show it, yet blow it. It takes concentration for fresh communication, observation. That is to see without speaking. Take off your coat, take notes. I am teaching a class or rather school, cause you need schooling. I am not a king or queen, I'm not ruling. This is an introduction to
Yo, what's up, Blast Master KRS-One? This jam is kicking. Word. Yo, what up, D Nice? Yo, what's up, Scott LaRock? Yo, man, we chillin' this funky fresh jam. I want to tell you a little something about us. We're the Boogie Down Production crew. And due to the fact that no one outside there knew what time it was, we have to tell you a little story about where we come from. South Bronx, the South Bronx, the South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx. Many people tell me this style is terrific. It is kinda different, but let's get specific. KRS-One specializes in music. I'll only use this type of style when I choose it. Party people in the place to be. KRS-One attacked. You got dropped off MCA cause the rhymes you wrote was whack. So you think that hip-hop had its start out in Queensbridge? If you pop that junk up in the Bronx, you might not live. Cause you're in South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx. I came with Scott LaRock to express one thing. I am a teacher and others are kings. If that's the title they earn, well, it's well deserved. But without a crown, so I still burn. To settle for a pebble, not a stone like a rebel. KRS-One is the holder of a boulder. Money folder. You want a fresh style? Let me show you.
We'll miss you, Scott. We'll miss you, Scott. We'll miss you, Scott. We'll miss you, Scott. We'll miss you, Scott.
Did making music for you was it just like a natural progression from DJing as it is for a lot of people, or was there a defining moment where you thought, yeah, I don't just want to play people's music, I want to make my own shit?
The 1775 sampling mixer by Newmark came out with the round button where you could sample for 3 seconds, and so great mixer. But what happened for me was after I had, you guys have actually jogged my memory in something I never remembered. This just came to me. When I was talking to B-Boy Records, he said, we need remixers to remix this album. And I was not a remixer. I was just a DJ. And I was like, okay, but all right, I'll try to find someone in Minnesota. And then it occurred to me, I don't know, who the fuck am I going to find to remix this song? And I didn't want to let them down because they've been giving me boxes of records to bring to Minnesota to just try to sell to stores and get interest for them. I was like their Midwest rep. And I totally milked that, man. I went and got business cards made up from the clubs I was at, and I told everybody, I'm going to break your shit in the Midwest. Def Jam bought it, Tommy Boy bought it, Zakaya bought it, and I got free records because I was a junkie like you guys probably.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I couldn't, and I was raising a kid that wasn't my stepson, I was raising him, and then I had a baby. I couldn't afford to buy shit. And I said, you know what? Let me try to do this remix.
Okay.
If I can. All I had was one turntable at the time. I've never had a pair of 12. In all my career of DJing, I've never had a matching pair of 1200s in my basement or in my studio for more than 3 months because I'm always in clubs and they always have 1200. But I had to buy this foot sample pedal because I knew samplers were the thing. I have to buy a sampler and I can't really afford one. Long story short, I did the remix and I didn't expect them to take it. And when he said, we're putting this out, I felt, oh shit, it must be good enough for them. Let me try to experiment. And then when I bought the 1775 mixer, that was it. I was like, shit, now I can fly. Because that was a better quality sound, remember? It was a pretty decent quality sound for the time. Oh, and then I made a record. Oh, and then I bought I remember now. Then I bought my very first synthesizer was a DSS-1 Korg sampler. Huge machine. And I made payments on layaway for like 2 months before I could pick it up. And when I bought that, I had moved out probably 7th time of moving out of the house or the apartment because of my ex was fighting with her all the time. And I had all my gear at the top of my dad's pro shop. So I was living in the trophy part of where we had all the trophy supplies upstairs. And I had my DSS-1 sampler up there. and I made a mix for he was an English guy who ran Raveline Records in New Jersey, and that was my first 12-inch single. It was I think it was Raveline. His name was Jeffrey, and I got $500 for doing that. Now you remember I was getting $200 a week at the pro shop.
So $500, that's pretty good actually, going back then.
Oh, it was great money.
What year was that?
This is 1992.
It's good going now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
92. And one thing I'm very proud of myself, that I paid all my artists on my record labels $500 every time they do a release.
Yeah, because nowadays, I mean, we did an interview of Man Parrish for Space Lab quite recently, and the way he was treated is just diabolical. I mean, I don't know, you have to have a listen to that one, Freddie, but I mean,
I think I started listening.
Yeah, it's so bad how he was treated. I mean, considering especially how many millions of records he sold.
Oh, talk about the blues artist, dude. The blues artist make Man Parrish look like he was the most wealthy artist in the world.
That's awful, isn't it? It's just so bad.
The blues artists in the 50s and 40s were just so bad.
That's terrible. Yeah, definitely.
It's like that. So his film is like that too.
Freddie, I mean, like, where were you DJing back then?
Oh man. Okay, I'd go to any bars that would take me, basically. My first paid gig was for $75 a night in 1983. That was before I went to the Bronx, a year before I went to the Bronx.
Okay.
And I went to First Avenue. There's a club here called First Avenue that Prince appeared in the Purple Rain movie in.
Right.
And there was a DJ on stage about 1981, and he was amazing. And when I saw him on stage, I said, I want to do that. I want to do that. And that's when I started buying turntables, and I had a Radio Shack mixer. That was that like Tandy stores. For you guys, Tandy is Radio Shack for us.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I knew that because I lived in London for so many years. And that's when I thought, yeah, I want to start doing mixes and buying records. And that's when I just started getting 12-inch singles. But for me, the problem was I never had enough money for my habit. I couldn't afford to buy records. And so I had to figure out a clever way. So I was an engraver at the trophy shop. I've told this story to people like a Strut magazine and all these different magazines, or Strut's compilation. And I would engrave nameplates all day long for trophies on a machine, and sometimes on a hand engraver. And so when these people, I would call the record labels in New York City, and I would say, you guys want to put me on the promo list? And now I remember I told you a couple of them bought it, but a lot of them didn't buy it. Profile didn't buy it. And so I said, fuck, how am I going to get these records? And so I asked, well, can you at least give me a list that tells me what records are coming out? Because I would find that when I would call Downtown or Rock and Soul or some of the mail order stores, they'd say, no, Freddie, we only had a few of those. They're gone.
I know what that's like. Yeah, we look like we got a similar background there, with how it all happened. I mean, hip-hop, when it exploded over in the UK, just blew my mind. Just the B-boys, the music, everything going, the graffiti.
And I can't even believe I was actually there, some of it. That's what blows my mind. It is, man. Yeah. And it's like, but when I kick myself for a lot of things that I didn't do. Like, I kicked myself for not going to the Devil's Nest, which is the Diablo de Nido de Diablo. That was a Latino club right in the Bronx, and I never went.
Right.
I did go
to that one.
I went to a lot of. It was a huge freestyle club too. I went, and there was a lot of hip hop guys with. I never went to the skating place that was on rooftop skating rink. I never went there. I never went to. I did go to Danceteria. Yeah. And I did go to all the record stores, and I hung out religiously with Lenny Roberts of Ultimate Breaks and Beats, and never took a picture of him.
No.
And I just kicked myself so hard for that, because he's such an iconic.
Yeah. What was his record store?
He had an office at DJ Specialty, which was owned by Robert Gregory. That was in Castle Hill Avenue, and I used to hang there all the time with those guys. And Breakbeat Lou, and we'd all hang out there, and we'd sit and talk stories about, whatever it was. And Lenny had a little office upstairs, just a little office. But then he got an office on Pugsley Avenue, and he'd have these big spools hanging out from the wall, and he'd have 45s on them. So if you wanted to get 145, you'd have to take hundreds of 45s on and go through all of them to get the one.
Clothes rack kind of thing.
Yeah. It was the dumbest freaking way to store records. But I don't think he cared, because he wasn't trying to access them. He was just trying to get them out of the way. You know what I mean?
So during the interview with Freddie, we asked him if he could pick out a few tracks from back in the day. So we're going to blast through 2 or 3 of those now. And coming up soon after that, we'll be playing some old school stuff from his own labels. Just the tip of the iceberg, but give you a real good flavour. And then we'll be switching between genres as the show goes on.
Egyptian Love, and you're checking into the Bass Agenda Radio Show.
I didn't even actually realise quite how many labels you have had going over the years, because, you know, I know Howlin' and B-Boy Beats and Pieces, Analog Records, obviously Electric Music Foundation, but I didn't know about Socket or Butterbeat. Can you tell us about those? I mean,
I will tell you an interesting thing about Butterbeat. Butterbeat was my hip hop label I ran with my close friend Josh Virgin, a beat archaeologist, who actually did an album on IQ Records, which is a genius album. It's called Dust, Static, and Plastic.
Right.
And I'm telling you, this album is fucking badass, dude. It's badass. It's got the muscle, it's got the balls, it's got the rhymes. It's just the underground cult album, and the guys who know, they have it. But a lot of people don't know about it. He was a very, very wonderful, loving guy, but he was extremely dysfunctional drug addict.
Right.
And he went down the meth road and hard, dude. I mean, hardcore. And he would only date black girls. And he lived in the hood, rough areas. And he met me I was the DJ at the roller rink I was a DJ at what was it? Roller Gardens, it was called.
Right.
And he was the only white kid in the whole audience. And he came up to me, he had razors cut into the side of his head. And I was playing LL Cool J test pressing I had gotten from Def Jam or some shit. And he's like, "Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "From Def Jam Records." And he's like, "You go," and I said, "Where? You go to New York?" I said, "Yeah." And so they tested me to see if I really went to the Bronx, like I said I would. 'Cause I didn't know it was a big deal to go to the Bronx.
Right.
I was like going to another city or something. And so one of these dudes came up to me, started asking me questions about streets, and I just answered him. And he's like, "Yeah, he was there." I mean, you get those records in Manhattan before you could get them in the Bronx, to be honest with you. Manhattan had more records than the Bronx did.
Oh, okay, right.
I mean, the Bronx had great records, don't get me wrong. And the occasion, like Moody's Records was in the Bronx, and that was, that was Rommel C and a bunch of different, not Rommel C, I can't remember. But it's in my book. But the point of the conversation is there were stores in the Bronx that had great records. They also had a ton of Latino records, salsa, merengue, stuff like that. Yeah. Because there was a huge Latino community in the Bronx. I mean, there still is. There's Mexicans and Dominicans, Cubans.
Yes.
And they would be mixed. You'd find rap, but you'd find it mixed. And plus, rap was still kind of a faddish thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Z-MCs came out and I bought it. Instead of going to Manhattan, I could get it right in the Bronx because it was a hot record. If it was on the radio, you could buy it in the Bronx.
Did you say Z3MCs then?
Yeah. Triple Threat. No,
yeah.
I ran right down the street. I went to a store. Like a guy, when there was a white guy, Jewish guy. It was just an older Jewish guy who ran an electronics shop. They would have electronics / record stores.
Right.
So you could buy radios and speakers, and then they'd have records too. So that's how the shops used to be there. I tried to work at those record stores. I tried to get jobs at all of them.
Yeah. So that was another great label. That was out of New Jersey, wasn't it?
Yeah, Beauty and the Beat.
Yeah, that was an incredible label. Some of the stuff on that, the DJ Cheese Word of Mouth stuff, and
everybody loves
Duke Booty. Yeah, I mean, incredible music, incredible drum program. He's so heavy as well. I mean, the way he just brought those drums to the front in his mixes were just it's next level, wasn't it? I mean, I'm rest in peace, Duke Booty. I'd love to spoke to him.
The New York scene was so cool. When I was researching my book, I was talking to Delmar Donnell. He ran the Philosophy Rap and Spree and all these famous rappers. Delmar Donnell told me that when he sold his releases on his Harlem labels, Sugar Hill Records, what's the guy who ran Sugar Hill Records with
Sylvia
Robinson,
yeah,
her husband, was a notorious gangster.
Right.
And he was totally terrifying all the independent record labels when they would put out their music, and if they didn't listen, he owned the radio to a degree, not like he wanted to own it, but he had enough money and enough power that he could keep the songs off the radio. So he was successful with Philosophy Rap and Spree by Super 3 to keep it off the radio. And he also threatened Delmar Donnell, "Don't be fucking trying to get that shit on the radio, because you're going to be dealing with me." And he was a gangster. And so he told me that he had a refrigerator in his behind his apartment, and he left copies for of his releases for Mr. Magic to come and grab them. Mr. Magic was going to swing by his apartment and grab the records out of his refrigerator. He never did. He realized, he asked him, "Why didn't you come and take the records? I'll bring them to you." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no." And he found out that Joe, I think is the guy, Robinson.
Right, okay. Sylvia's husband.
Was threatening people not to play the records. And so that happened, I think, with Disco Wax, Soul Wax, the early Harlem labels that were around the time of 80 Sugar Hill Gang time.
Right. So they didn't want the competition.
Yeah, he was strong-arming the people in the local radio community, or not so much the radio community, but the actual independent, like record store owners, distributors. There was a networking chain. You know, you'd have the distributor who would get it to the shops, and he was putting cogs, and then, or if he was, his first thing wasn't to threaten. His first thing was to pay him off. You know, here's $1,000, or here's $200. I don't want you to take the shipment. Stuff like, he just did little, you know, don't quote me on how he did it.
So is that because that he had an early sign there that things were going to explode and he wanted the monopoly on it? Or
I don't know why. I'm sure it's because he was. I mean, there's just people that get greedy. You know, it's like, it's not enough for me to be successful. I have to. That's very common in England too. People, you know, it's not good enough that you're doing well and I'm doing well. I need to do better by holding you back.
So Howlin' Records, I've got a couple of bits on. Well, I've got, is it Antron Earthquake on that label?
That's the rarest Howlin' record.
That's okay. I have that one.
There's only like a couple. I think there's only 100 of those actually.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. How many units were you?
I don't even know if I have one of those, to be honest with you. Yeah,
really?
Be really rare. That's super rare. It's sad that I couldn't put, you know, a 7-minute version on there.
Well, there was a 12 as well that came out later, wasn't there? Somebody put it out on
that.
Colored
Vinyl.
Sex
and Scoundrels. That's Andy Halstead. He is.
Oh yes.
Gifted producer. Gifted.
Yes, definitely. So I have that, and that's one of my favourites, actually.
And him and Russ. Russ was MP3 genius.
Yes, that's right.
Those guys are freaking nasty ass producers, man. I mean, badass producers. I feel bad that we couldn't make those guys, give those guys more fame. I mean,
well, I have those that the 12-inch and the 7-inch, isn't it? There's the red 12-inch. That's the on B-Boy.
And the DJ Wild Thing from Holland did an absolutely blinding remix too on a mini mix.
Yes, because these guys, because I met all these guys through Electro Empire years ago. So they were all on Electro Empire, MP3 Genius, Andy House.
Did you hear what they did? Did you hear what they did on the Freddie Fresh Records remix master mix?
Not sure.
Tokyo, Japan did a 3 CD poster with a poster of all the records used in the Freddie Fresh Presents the Rap Records book.
Right. Okay. Oh,
we did a 3-part master mix series for the book.
Okay.
And they did some work in there that is just holy shit. I can't even believe how good it is.
Okay, well, I'll have to check that out. Because I was going to say, did you put the album out as well by Ictus? Was it Lucky Bastard or something? Was that you?
No, that wasn't me. I just put out a bunch of singles on 7 inches. And
because I have those. There's some good ones.
You guys should interview him. You guys should interview him one day. He's great. He's really knowledgeable. He's a brilliant producer and a great DJ.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, I used to be in contact with him quite a bit. I met him years ago. He was at the Nucleus gig, the first Nucleus gig in the UK, that AD 2005. We were all, loads of Electro Empire heads were all there for that.
Yeah, I think he's underlooked. Like you say, some of us are underlooked. I think he's an underlooked producer.
Well, this is the thing, man. This is what we're trying to do is just fill in some other gap, because there's a lot. I mean, particularly with Space Lab and the book that Billy's writing, we're trying to understand why hip hop and why electro hip hop in particular is left out of so many retellings of the story of music.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's just skipped over for some reason. I don't know if you see that yourself, man.
Well, okay. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic there, because we're talking about. Now, you're talking about at the time of its initial release, it was overlooked, or are you talking about in retrospect, like right now, it's not giving the
retrospect? I mean, it just seems like, Billy was all. This is one of Billy's questions he liked to ask, was like, we had 50 years of hip hop a couple of years ago, and you don't even. There's no mention of Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force, Planet Rock. There's no mention of that electronic hip hop sound. It just kind of brushes over it. And everyone who talks about like the rave era and dance music and house music exploding in Detroit techno and techno, whatever, they all miss electro, which was huge. I mean, it was a huge thing here.
I wasn't aware of how big it was in England. I mean, I knew it. I mean, it's the brother-sister relationship between hip hop, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the Street Sounds compilations over here.
Yeah, with Morgan Conn. But for me, to me, electro music is the same definition as it is to you. 1982, everything from Gino Socio to Planet Rock. With that. That boom, snap, boom, boom, snap.
Yeah, it's got a sound, doesn't it?
It's got a sound, exactly. Yeah. And Electro House doesn't do that. Electro House is a different vibe. So they should, by them using the word electro in front of the word house, kind of took away what original electro is.
But it muddied the waters even more. I mean, the thing was, nobody was really even talking about electro up to that point. I mean, it's just like...
Yeah, why did they use that word? They stole the word, basically.
Yeah, they just stole it and tried to ride on a little bit of popularity that it was having again and in resurgence, and then just confused people again. Because people go, electro house, you know.
Anthony Rother enjoys a ton of respect still. And he has a huge amount of viewers on his pages.
Yeah.
I think the people that like electro, they're still there. They still do it. You know, I don't consider myself an electro producer. I consider myself a producer who likes electro and makes it sometimes.
Yes.
Hi, this is Billy Nasty, and you are listening to Bass Agenda.
Yeah, see the beat, go work it out.
And now here's a little rhyme we were asked to say.
So in 4 8 seconds that we don't play.
We got rhymes, got riddles, got lyrics galore.
Told this, crack reference from shore to shore.
I'm a poet and I know it. My death rhyme show it since I made it to the top. I never felt alone. I'm the storm like the cooler. The composition ruler, I'm cool. See the beat and there is none cooler.
Perfect like seconds that dish decay. Don't decrease in number. Every rhyme I say, you go phone. On the spot when I step on the scene, I'm K.I.G. and I die. The brother supreme.
London is very special for me because I had so much love from everybody there. I mean, come on, dude. I was a freaking pizza guy delivering pizza and hustling bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I get out there and I don't have to deliver pizzas anymore. I would get into IQ Records with all the staff and I would just put stickers on my records and help them and do shit. And they thought I was some kind of freaking freakazoid at first, you know? And then like Fazia Shah, the girl that promoted my music, I mean, she's an absolute saint of a woman. I mean, I am gifted from the universe to have that lady. Because thanks to her hard diligence and work, I got known all over England.
Yeah. Wow. Very popular. So, I mean, that's a good time as well. The late 90s into the noughties, it was still really, really good around in London.
A magical time because everybody, all the hip hop stuff was coming with the newer updated beats, like the freestylers, and it was just amazing time. Yeah. Norman, of course, Fatboy Slim. I mean, when he came out with that, Back to the Beat, what the fuck, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yes, I know the one you mean.
Renegade Master.
Yes. When Renegade Master came on, I was doing a gig in France, and I was on the freeway coming out of some small town in southern France or some shit. And when that song came on and the break hit, I just about shit my pants. I just about hit the roof of the back the guy driving me. I was like, what the actual fuck is that? I had another moment like that with the Boards of Canada album. When that came out, I was actually on, this is crazy, I was on my way to play Glastonbury with the staff at IQ Records in the car, and right as we're driving down the country road, there's Stonehenge on my right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that looks just like Stonehenge. What is mine? There's Stonehenge. Yeah. What the fuck? Where are the signs in the booths to collect money to go look at it? You know, that's how I imagined it. And he's like, right as that was happening, Music Is the Right to Children album was playing on the decks.
Right.
Oh yeah, we just got this album from this new band, Boards of Canada, and I'm like, and the song. I mean, Boards of Canada is like one of my favorite acts of all time. I love it. I worship Boards of Canada. I try to mimic them with my productions even. I mean, I love them.
So you were telling me, like you said, Def Jam, you're on their mailing list. You've got Tommy Boy, you've got B-Boy Records, and some others you mentioned. I mean, those 12s must have been flying into your hands.
Yeah, I did get, and I got test pressing. Not test pressings. I got
white label promos and
white label promos of almost everything. I sold a lot of it, and I traded a lot of it with other DJs. But I did everything I could to get records because, I mean, as you know, that we were the internet.
Yes, but that's it. I mean, we were the ones breaking that music. I mean, it was a hard graft trying to trace down music. I mean, I don't know. It was hard for me.
No, it was hard for us too. And I was in the States, and I'll give you an example. When Big Apple Noise came out, Volume 3, Genius at Work, JT, Scrim Duff, which is Latin Rascals. You know the mix, right? I was at Shea Stadium and I went to the baseball game with headphones, and I wasn't even into sports. I worked at a sporting goods shop. I just wanted to get away from sports. Well, my dad owns a sporting goods shop. I was at Shea Stadium just listening with headphones while the whole family was watching the game. And that came on the radio, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, it's incredible, that mix. I love it.
What's going on? I almost believe it. I had a friend in Minnesota that I had found from Brooklyn. He said he knew that record, and he lied to me and told me it was a different name. Mr. CC called it, Genius at Work. That wasn't that good a friend at that point. We weren't that close at that point. Oh, I called every record store for 4 years asking for Cutmaster CC. Telling people the wrong fucking name.
That's swine. I hope you got him back for that, Freddie.
And so they had the goddamn record in the stores all these years, and I couldn't find it because I kept giving them the wrong freaking name. But then when they would say, wait a minute, I would say, yeah, it starts out with this.
Yeah.
Because I was so confident with the name, I didn't get into the details of how the record went.
Do you know is there anybody out there, the vocoder? Do you know where that comes from? Because I can't find anyone who knows where that's lifted from.
No, but I did find a couple of the really rare samples in there. I found there was one that I found, but I talked to Albert Cabrera. The problem is a lot of times they don't even know. I mean, I've discovered this about artists. When I was with Carl Craig, I've been dying to know where that breakbeat came in from Jazz 69 Classics or whatever that he did on his album Planet E Records.
Right.
The breakbeat in one of his techno tracks that is so funky, and I asked him and he didn't know where it came from, and that made me think, wait, yeah, I thought you made the record. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want to tell me. But no, if there anybody out there, could very well have been a vocoder drop that was made, because you got to remember back when those mixes were happening, there were a lot of DJs doing those mixes.
Yeah.
And, and so they would do even
Double D and Steinsky and things like that as well.
Pettibone. Yeah. I mean, and so they'd be in the studio and they would do tricks and drops and things over, which has been the shrouded mystery for all these years of why.
Yeah, so maybe it was just them saying it with the vocoder then. Maybe
that's why a lot of people can't find the originals, because they actually.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why. Yeah, because I know a few people have been asking that question for a long time, and just nobody knows. So maybe they just did it.
I could try to have him asking that.
Could you ask him? Because I would love to know.
I asked him about some other samples.
Yeah.
Phil's having sleepless nights.
Well, yeah. I need to know the source material. It's important.
So do I. I used to spend the whole night doing that too. The Innocence and Danger, I think, is one of the rare samples on there. It was on Epic Records. It was a Innocence and Danger. There's a real cool electronic drop that happens in one of those pieces.
What's it sound like?
Oh, I have to dig it out because I can't. I'm gonna totally lost of how it goes. But I remember that amazing. I'm proud of myself that I remember the name. I'm pretty sure the band is Innocence and Danger, and that's a very obscure record on Epic that came out at the time that wasn't very popular. And another part that's on there that is amazing is, do you remember NV Let Me Do You on Sire?
No.
Okay, that record has a part that goes in it. It's like an electronic piece, and that's in there too. I found a lot of the really rare ones. People call me all the time and ask me for shit. Still, to this day, people call me and ask me if I can train spot.
And in other news, early reports it. And in other news...
One for the treble. One for the treble. One for the treble. 10 for the bass. Come on, baby D, let's rock this. Rock this. Rock this. Rock this. Rock this.
Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands, everybody.
When we put these shows together, we obviously, the interview tells a story, and we like to play a few tracks that tell the same story, you know, kind of follow the story. So, I mean, if we were to take you back to that kind of, I suppose, what you might call the first phase of your your music making career. Are there any particular tracks that stand out for you as, you know, maybe you're proud of, or?
Okay, if you're going to talk about my very, very first beginnings, I'd probably have to say Lexicon on Experimental, or maybe Fantasia, which was songs that I one thing I haven't told you is that I had a lot of really horrible family events happening at the same time that I was doing this music, and so music for me was kind of a shelter for me from the painful stuff I was dealing with at the time. And as I'm sure a lot of you guys have had too. I mean, we all have trials and tribulations in life. But I listening in retrospect to some of those early productions, I can remember why there's so much emotion in the tracks I made, because I was feeling so much, and that came out apparently. And a lot of people tell me that over the time, like Return to Fantasia was a record I did on my Howlin', or not Miss Howlin', my Electric Music Foundation label. And I mean, I couldn't even sell those barely when they came out. It was on orange vinyl, and that ended up being one of my most collectible releases on all my releases. But Lexicon, I'm very proud of. Richie Houghton wanted Lexicon for Plus 8 Records, which it doesn't even seem like it fits on that label, actually. But even Wild called me and he says, "Freddie, we just put out 2 of your 12 inches. We have to have this." And what am I going to do? I mean, Experimental Records supported me from the very beginning. You know, that was Silvio Tancredi, and that was, you know, he ran Atmosphere with Joy Beltram and all those guys, and I did very well. We hung out in the offices, and it was also them that got me my first gig in Paris.
Right.
1993. So there was no way in hell I was going to jeopardize that relationship and get by giving Richie that song, even though I love Richie, and I mean, Richie and me are in great terms, but it would have been it wouldn't have been a good thing for me to do at that point. And so it ended up being in that label. But that record came out really, really, really amazingly well. It's called The Lexicon.
This is a message from Detroit.
This is Adult.
And you are listening to Agenda. 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 Agenda.
I'm not one of these guys that's like, you have to do this or you have to do that. But I do have a partner that wants to start releasing vinyl on analog again. I've got I do have records coming out here and there, almost not all the time, but a lot of. Lately, I've got like 2 releases happening. I got one in Europe, Germany coming with this. I just did this song called Tens of Thousands, which basically wrote itself. And I did that digitally. Then I went in the studio and I added bass from some of my System 100 rolling and a couple of my big synthesizers.
You've got a System 100?
Yeah, I've got a full-blown system. I've had it forever. And what happened was I bought it in 93 and then I sold it years ago to my friend, Dan Metzler. He's a buddy of mine. And then he just sold it back to me a month ago.
Wow. Okay.
I kick myself because I never used the expander module properly. I never used them together. There's a bass cabinet and a cabinet leads behind it called the 102 expander, and they're used to work together. And I just touch on it here and there, but I never attached them and let them run together like they were supposed to.
Right.
And I started Alex Ball. I follow him. I don't know if you know Alex Ball. He has a English guy who has a synthesizer channel. He's an amazing guy.
Okay.
Doing these videos on the 102 expander with the 100 system, I was thinking, what the hell why was I not doing that? I'm thinking, because I have a System 100M, which is one of my favorite systems, and that I milk the shit out of it. I know everything on that thing.
Right. So you're a real synth nerd then. You know your ins and
I know how
outs.
to do. I can get sounds out of synths. I'm not going to say I can't. I can. I know my and I know my drum machine backwards. I actually started putting out videos of me doing live tweaks in the studio, and I used to get 50, 80, 100 views. I got 29,000 views on one. Holy shit! I don't know why. I think it's because some big hitter, a couple big hitters must have shared it. Yeah. And now I'm getting 1,000 to 4,000 on every video I do, and I'm like, it's great, but it's also nerve-wracking because I can't put out any bullshit or I'll lose that momentum.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's cool. So what have you got in your studio? Write it down for us. I want to know.
I've got a System 100M modular, 2 cabinets of that, so I've got like 9 modules. I'm waiting for one module from a custom manufacturer, Reich in England. They're going to do a triple resonator module. I won't get too nerdy on you. That's a System 100M system. That's a brilliant modular, mini modular system. I've got a Jupiter 8. I'll tell you what's mine. These are mine that I'm saying. Well, okay, I'll be honest with you. I don't have an original. I do have an original 303 in my studio right now. It's not mine. I sold mine to buy the Roland Boutique because it play the notes on externally. Come on, it's functional. It's way more functional than 303. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of 303s sound better originally. They don't. Fuck it. I will say it. They do not. They sound better than new one.
Yeah, I had a 303 years ago and I sold it for double what I bought it and I was happy.
Yeah, but I'm going to piss off a lot of people by doing this. But I'm just going to say it, especially my buddy, because he's hell-bent on everything has to be authentic. And so I've got a 909. I bought the Behringer 909 and I have the Boutique 909. They're fucking badass, dude. They're fucking nasty. I mean, I've got a 909. Right now I have 3 909s. I have an original 909. I've got the Boutique and I've got the Behringer, but the original's not mine. It's my guy. It's my buddy's.
Right.
And he said, just keep it. I want you to use it on these tracks. I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. But to be fair, it did inspire me because they're so quick to do the pattern changes. The buttons are so big, and the Boutiques are tiny little cryptic buttons.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm flying on them. But I've also got right now I've got a Jupiter 6 down there too. I've got a Jupiter 8. I have a R2600 orange and black from the 70s. That's an original. That's bad boy. I've had that forever. I got it for $125.
Wow.
Now, I got my Jupiter 8 for $350.
No way.
And I mean, in the 90s, people were throwing the shit. Some dude just posted, yeah, you've got so much gear, way more than you need to make these tracks, or way too expensive gear. And I said, and I wrote, if I could afford the software, I'd buy the software. My gear was cheaper than the software.
Yeah, that's the thing, but it was like that.
They don't understand that. These young kids don't get that. They think that you're trying to show off your toys. Well, yeah, I'm showing off the gear, but it's not because, look at I have a Jupiter 8. It's because, well, fucking hell, that's all I had. But I mean, I have that. I've got, I've got a Ghost Soundcraft mixing desk. I've got a whole ton of Behringer shit. I've got a Cobalt, not a ton, but I've got a few pieces. I've got the Cuban Comparator SY1 Pearl clone. Well, those are badass. The SY1 Syncussions. Those are insane. The sounds they make. They're just bananas. I've got a Monopoly, but I think it's a clone though. And I've got 808. Right now I've got two 808s. I've got a boutique 808 and a real 808. And I've got the 808's not mine though. I'm not gonna lie and say it's mine. I sold mine because you could get stupid money for them back then.
Yeah, well, why not? That's the thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do have some pretty rare kit. I mean, compared to it. But I mean, but I have access to. There's an ARP 2500 here in Minneapolis. I mean, there's some really rare ass shit in the Twin Cities here. PS 3300s, Moogs, all kinds of shit. I had a Moog Series 3 in 1992, and there's only like 10 of them in the whole world, and I sold it.
Wow, what's that worth now?
It's worth like $350,000 now.
God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Very
but I
cool.
use all the stuff. You know, I'm not like, look at my Jupiter. The shit's got probably coffee stains on it. I mean, I'm using the thing 5 times a day. You know what I mean? I'm always on my gear.
You're in loads of different genres, aren't you? You're
around about 212 singles, probably.
Can you remember everything you've done? I mean,
No,
I'll tell you, this is a self-indulgent moment, okay? But my girlfriend absolutely loves your EP, the Gnarl EP.
That's crazy. On Drop Bass Network.
Yeah. So Slapped by Timmy Sounds, I think, is the track in particular off that EP.
Oh, yeah.
So she's got a lot of memories of dancing in forests in the mid-90s.
You got to let her check out the Analogical Mind stuff, man. She's going to lose her mind. Analogical Mind. I just got a DAT back two weeks ago from 33 years ago. I ordered a drum machine.
I saw this post.
Yeah,
I ordered a drum machine from a guy who ended up being the captain at one of the captains at Planet X Records in New Jersey. And so I opened up the freaking drum machine, and here's a DAT sitting on top of the box. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What's that? It's me. It's my writing. Holy shit. So I called him up. He goes, yeah, I used to work at Planet X, and I had this DAT laying around for 33 years. Shit, it was the only copy. Because I didn't make copies of any of my music because the DATs were like $14 a piece back then.
Yeah, right.
And so I kicked myself because like I did 33 releases on Analog. That was like the first techno label. My label was the first techno label in Minnesota, in the Midwest, one of them. And like Axial EP was Nikola Borkovich. He died, and he did a record that's so brilliant. Everybody loves it. And naturally, I don't have the freaking DAT. I had to master it off vinyl like an idiot, but at least I did it. But the problem is, it was so bizarre. Here, I don't even have my own DATs, and this guy's got a DAT of my music. So your girlfriend will love that release. I just put it on Bandcamp. It's rock.
I'll let her know.
160 per minute, blazing acid shit. know, the best DJs in the world are oftentimes the warm-up DJs that no one's ever heard of because they're so inflamed with passion. I saw a guy in France, he opened for a British DJ that came in to headline, and he had the place losing their minds. I mean, the paint was peeling off the walls. He was just on fire because he knew that his hero, the British guy, I can't remember who he was listening to him because he had to hear him. He was there getting ready to go on. And the guy walked up to him and he pushed him off the decks.
What?
Yeah, that was his thank you for warming up the crowd. Well, I mean, he had the crowd in fever pitch, but he did it because he was terrified. How are you going to follow that? You know,
it's hard to follow that.
No, I know. You know what you do. You know what you do. The best trick to do when you come into a fever pitched room. What I would do when they would do that, because they would always ask me when I would do my circuits in London, Freddie, do you want me to play slow music or something? No, you do whatever the hell you want to do, man.
Yeah.
I'm confident in my game. I know I'm going to rock this motherfucking place. I'm a good DJ. I mean, I think I do it since I was born, practically. And so I get up there and I would tell the guy, I would stop the music dead, hold the guy's hands in the air, and make everybody applaud for at least a minute for the guy who just did it.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, definitely.
And they just lose their minds. They get all the X screaming out. They get all the energy out. He gets his accolades, which he's well-deserved.
Yeah.
And he's happy. The crowd's happy. And then I start him up again, like a roller.
And you look like a nice guy straight off.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking right, man. And that's how it should be. Because the DJs who work hard and are good shouldn't be hidden.
I know we're kind of jumping around a load of place, but I feel like we've kind of reached the point where I was going to ask you about, I mean, because I think it was 2 years ago you released 35 Years of Music on EPM.
Yeah, that's my manager. My manager's British, you know.
Yeah, is it Oliver?
Yeah, you know Oliver.
Oh, yeah, I know Oliver very well.
Oh, what a great guy, man.
Yeah, he's lovely, isn't he?
We love Oliver. He's a legend. I was going to ask you about that album, if I may. I mean, for obviously 35 years is a milestone anyway, in terms of time. But I just wanted to know a bit about the album. I mean, obviously, I guess what you were trying to do is make the statement that you're not a one-trick pony, you know, because that album covers so much in terms of style and genres and you know, it's such a ride, man. I love that albm.
Thank you. I do appreciate you saying that because man,
that's true.
He picked out all the tracks with Jonas from.
Oh, okay.
Jonas Stone.
Yeah, they just went and said, Freddie, I mean, I've done probably 800 or 1,000 songs. Here's the deal. I went through a stage where I had to do music. I mean, if I don't do music, I get like anxious. Do you know what I mean?
I'm the same. I have to do it.
Yeah, and so I go in the studio. Like I have a studio right behind me downstairs with just the most ridiculous synthesizers, and I'm down there all the time. Now, there was a period when I met my current wife for about 6 years where I was not going and doing music. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I just wasn't doing music. But then what happened was, and I started getting the bite again. And I really love old school hip hop and drum and bass. And I've always liked beats, right? And I love the Aphrodite sound, what he was doing, right? When he was mixing, you know, like Pumpkin and the All-Stars with drum and bass and shit. And I was like, let me find more of this. No one's doing it. Nobody's doing it. I said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And I'm challenging myself to do that style right now, which probably pisses off a few people. Some people don't give a shit. But I've also got like about 1,000 guys that are loving it. And so now I got German guy on board doing remixes. I've got Crash Party from England. I've got Rob T. I think he's from English guy. And we're doing these remixes where we take acapellas of old school rap records. And then I do drum and bass, but the difference, I'm not trying to do the dubsteppy drum and bass that the kids are doing. I'm trying to do more of an style using synthesizers, drum and bass. So it's not as tough clinically with the production side. It's a little bit more 90s-ish production style. But I talked to Aaron Fuchs yesterday. He owns Tough City Records. Yeah. And I've been trying to get him on board with this, and he's going to finally let me have a crack at his catalog now. So the gates may be opening for me legally to be doing these remixes.
Wow. So I was going to ask you that. How do you get around the legality of it? Because obviously, you know, if you're
they're all fucking pirates. None of them are illegal. Yeah. But I tell but I know I don't hide. Here's what I do. I've been doing sample clearances my whole life, and I've been dealing with that bullshit and the freaking red tape and the bureaucratic shit, the people that know anything about what you're even trying to do, and $10,000 before you can even ask the question. Fuck off. So here's what I'm doing. I'm putting this only on Bandcamp. I put it for $3. I make between $3 and $21 on a release. So if I do 12 track, you know, or on a song, I should say, I might make $50 on a 13 track release. I give the remixers some money. Yesterday, I just sent 25 pounds to 2 of my guys. It's not a lot of money, but it's more than we're even getting on the release. Do you know what I mean? Snacks or whatever the hell they want, because I believe artists should be getting paid, even if it's $5. You know, I had millions of, only on one song. You know, but anyway, long story short, I put the songs out. I try to get the attention of the artist. I send the artist the links to the songs to check it out. I got great feedback from Schoolie D. I got great feedback from Man Parrish. I just did Boogie Down Bronx. That's coming out here in a couple weeks. I get great feedback from the artists. Nucleus loved the Automan remix I did.
And you did one of those as well, did you? I did one too.
I know, yeah. I've been hearing some of your stuff is blinding, man. And so, Public Enemy's label was supposed to put out the B-Boys remix, but it kind of fell through the cracks. And so, if anyone complains, I take it down. I mean, they can only sue you for what you've done. What you've earned, unless you can you're defaming their character. Well, how the hell am I defaming their character? This is remix culture.
Well, I asked you earlier to choose a couple of tracks that were kind of you wanted to highlight from your earlier stage. So if we talk about the latter days of your releasing career, what would you highlight for people? I'd like to try and play stuff that
Well, I just did a song that I'm actually kind of proud of, and that doesn't happen all the time, and it's called Tens of Thousands.
Okay, yeah, you mentioned.
I did an electro mix recently, and that's coming out on vinyl. We're actually preparing the artwork for that as I speak. It's on the Freddie Fresh Bandcamp page. It's called Tens of Thousands, and it's got a picture of my daughter when she was little.
Okay.
The picture makes his head look really big on there. My wife was moaning about that a minute ago. And then I've got one for Ariana, which was a song I did, but that's an ambient track, and I'm kind of proud of that too. Or Feathers, maybe. Those are 2 tracks. But I mean,
Feathers,
I've literally done hundreds and hundreds of songs, and it's not like I'm trying to be a factory that puts out 1 million songs. It's that I have that ADD or ADHD or whatever the hell is where you can't concentrate for 5 minutes.
Do you go into the studio though? I mean, I guess with drum and bass, it sounds like you probably do. But I mean, do you go into the studio and say, right, today I'm going to make a techno track, or today I'm going to make a house track?
Yeah, I do actually, because I've got a guy totally leaning. My partner's leaning on me a lot to make techno. And I have a ton of people that really want me to make acid music all the time. And there's nothing wrong with acid music. I love acid, but it's got to be funky. It's got to have a bounce. It's got to have something. And it's like. At the risk of sounding, I don't want to say this even out loud, but I get bored.
Right.
I go to the studio and I get bored when I start something, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else, and then I start something else. I get to the point where either something happens that inspires me to work harder, and it might be that new. Okay, I'll give you an example. There's a guy I think he's in Holland. He made a Eurorack module called the Sample Splicer. Ginkgo Company. He's an independent company. This sample splicing unit is fucking ridiculous. You are able to I sample the AM or FM radio signal, and it'll spread whatever I sample across a 12-second bed of light dots, and then you can dial the dots. You can dial the knobs, and you can truncate the loop, and then you can pitch it, play it like granular synthesis. You can do it. The technology allows all these amazing things to happen now. I mean, the technology is so advanced that you can do things that you just couldn't do before. So it's like all these new spices have come out, and I'm cooking every day with salt and pepper. And now I've got 15 new spices I can cook with. and it inspires me to now want to make that one track I couldn't make before. I couldn't do drum and bass before because I couldn't get into the intricacies of the breakdowns that I needed to do. And I'm trying to toe the line between getting cheesy and doing stupid cheesy what everybody else is doing break lines, but at the same time,
don't do that.
But at the same time, wanting to have a melody line that's catchy, or at the same time wanting to have something that, at the end of the day, I have to like it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Is you have to like it. I'm a big believer in that. Don't do music for other people.
No,
I got to make it for yourself.
And so for me, the biggest nightmare is when someone gives me a banging track and wants a remix. Because if it's banging, I'm not.
What are you going to do? Yeah,
I don't want to remix it. Yeah.
Love and thanks out to Freddie Fresh for what was a real fun interview. We spoke for a couple of hours and you've heard most of that today. Some really cool stuff in there. Obviously no sign of him slowing down at all. And some really, really exciting projects in the pipeline too. Make sure you check out his Bandcamp page, which is freddie.fresh.bandcamp.com. So that's Freddie, F-R-E-D-D-Y, Fresh, F-R-E-D-D-I-E, fresh.bandcamp.com. Absolutely stacks of stuff on there going back over the last 3.5 decades or so. As always, the show will be up first on patreon.com/bassagenda, complete with the full track list, of course. Thanks to everybody who's supporting me on there, helped me keeping this thing going. Love and thanks out to my partner in crime on this one, Phil Klein, aka Bass Junkie. Next month on Bass Agenda, I'll be welcoming Human Rebellion to the show with an interview and a stack of banging electro tracks for you. Have yourselves a good weekend. Cheers.
everyone, welcome to Hysteria Radio. It's a brand new week filled with new music, and I've got a special guest mix by City. Right now, Hendrix and Adam Griffin featuring Rowan Cass with All I Need.
You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need.
Champagne to the DJ, play my favorite song. Lights and cameras, action movies, fashion models, Saks and Louis, Belvedere, open bottles. Look so calm, but she acts so choosy. Give me one more hour, I might go blind if the night goes sour. Out of touch like the cell phone tower. Please don't call me or please don't text. Please don't follow me or please don't flex. Please don't come if you don't come correct. I ain't never slow down, I ain't never stop. Ain't never stop, ain't never stop. You are all I need. You are all I need. You are all I need.
Rolling